everyone, this is Kim McIntosh with Homeland of Kentucky Real Estate Professionals, and today I am here with Kathleen Gumbel. She's a mortgage loan officer with Commonwealth Bank and Trust, and we are at Base Camp Coffee. It's in the Quest Outdoors store here on Shelbyville Road, and I have the Campfire coffee, which was highly recommended from everyone on Facebook. So, and it's delicious. So if you get a chance to stop by Base Camp Coffee, definitely try the Campfire coffee. Today we are going to talk about pre-approvals and why it's so important to get one before you start looking for a house. So, Kathleen, why do buyers need to get a pre-approval?
It's a really good idea because one, you're going to sit down with me and we're going to talk about what you can afford, so you know what your budget is, and then also we can also set the budget that'll work for your household. That way you've got everything taken care of, and when you go out to look for a home, you're confident when you put that offer in that you can qualify for that home.
Great. Now I know one of the things that I get asked a lot is, can I look for a house without a pre-approval? And my answer to that is generally, technically yes. However, a seasoned real estate agent is going to want you to get a pre-approval because we want to make sure that you're not looking at houses that are higher than you can afford, or that you're comfortable with the price, with the mortgage payment. And then also, sellers really only want to show houses to pre-qualified buyers because it's a lot of work for them to get their house ready and pack up the kids and get out for a couple hours so the house can be shown. So while yes you can, most agents won't show houses if you don't have a pre-approval. So on that, what does a buyer have to provide you to get a pre-approval?
What we're going to do is we're going to sit down and talk, and I'm going to get some personal information from you so that I can pull the credit report, date of birth, social security number, just the basics like that. Then we're also going to need to look at your income. I'm going to need to see your last 2 years tax returns and kind of talk about your job history and verify your income. That way we know what your credit score is and what your income is to be able to get you on the budget for what you can qualify for.
Great. Now, what if they don't have perfect credit? Because, you know, a lot of buyers are in the 650, 700 range, but perfect credit would be in the 800s.
Right, and not everyone has perfect credit. But sometimes your credit might not be as bad as you thought, or sometimes, well, maybe it's not as good as you thought. What you can do, if you don't have perfect credit, what we'll do is we'll sit down, and if your credit score is just not right there yet, I'll look at some ways that can give you some suggestions to help increase your score. Or I've got some credit agencies that I've worked with that I'll refer you to so that we can get you on track so that you've got a plan to get that credit back in line.
Okay, perfect. Now, how much does a buyer need for a down payment? Because we know 20% used to be the norm, and that's the conventional loan for some, but a lot of people don't have 20% down.
No, 20% back in the day was you needed to have a 20% down payment, and nowadays there's a lot of loans that have 3% down, 3.5%, or even some require no down payment. The good thing is too, there's a lot of assistance that's out there now. So what we'll do is I'll look at your situation, see if you're eligible for some down payment assistance that can help you get into that house with little or no money. Or a lot of times too, your relatives might be able to help you out. A gift is always a way to look at possibly getting into a home.
Great. And then, you know, as a buyer, you do have some out-of-pocket expenses. How much do you recommend that the buyer have for things like the home inspection and the appraisal? And
it's different for every property, but normally you are going to need a little bit of ready cash when you are purchasing a home, because you're going to do a home inspection on the home, and we're also up front you're going to need to pay for your appraisal on the property. So normally I would say you need, you know, maybe $1,000 or so. That can be in your savings, or you might be able to get a gift from a relative, but you do need to have some cash on hand because you are going to have some expenses right up front.
Right. And another out-of-pocket expense that you're going to need up front is your earnest money deposit. So it's a good faith deposit, really shows the seller that you have some skin in the game, for lack of a better term. It's going to let the seller know that you're serious about your offer when they start looking at homes, and especially when you start to make an offer, because that is required to give once your offer is accepted. So that's something upfront that you're going to have to be prepared for.
And the good thing about that is that your earnest money and your appraisal money will go towards your closing when you go to the closing costs.
Great. So FHA, most of my clients think FHA is just for first-time home buyers. So you and I being in the business, we know that that's not true. So who all can use an FHA loan?
Well, FHA is a great loan for a first-time home buyer, but you can also use it for your second home, because the FHA program, what it does, it allows you to get into a home with about 3.5% down. So maybe you're willing to move up, you can afford that next payment on the next higher house, but you don't have a lot of cash saved up yet. It allows you to get in with the lower down payment, and also is a little bit more forgiving on credit scores.
Great. Now, what other types of mortgage loans are available?
Well, there's so many different types of mortgage loans. That's the best thing about getting pre-approved, is that way we can look at your total financial snapshot and see what works best for you. But there's your regular conventional mortgage. There's a veterans loan that is great for veterans that can get you a lot of times in for little or no money down. And there's also homes with lower down payments, 3%, and some homes that are also called rural housing, that if the home is eligible in a certain eligible area, you can get in without a down payment. So really it's best just to sit down and let's talk about what your financial situation is and where you're looking to get you in the best loan.
And how long is the pre-approval good for?
The pre-approval is good for about 120 days, because that's how old your credit report can be when you close. So what's going to happen is that, say if you get pre-approved and you're maybe not ready yet, you're going to want to kind of watch your financial situation, and then when you're ready to put a contract in, is go ahead and get that credit re-pulled and income re-verified. So usually run about 3 to 4 months.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for joining us today, and remember to try the Campfire Latte here at Base Camp Coffee. Thanks!